Welcome to Say Your Piece, episode number 22. My name is Jamar.
My name is Christiane, and today we have another guest, singer and songwriter Brian Dublin. Hey.
Hey, what's up?
Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting. I've always wanted. I listen to podcasts so much. So when she asked me, I was like, "Yeah, I want to do a podcast. That'd be so fun."
I'm so happy to have you on, though. It's been a long time coming, and finally we're here. The first thing that I really wanted to talk about with Brian is talking about his new single. And right before this session that we're having right now, I sent him a video from Think Like a Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's totally clicking in my head now. Why it was important.
Why are you? What do you think? Like,
well, I get it because then I don't know if you're gonna put the clip anywhere so that they have context, but she was talking about like how it was like they had a one-night stand, and then she's like it's not gonna happen again, blah, blah, blah. And then she sees him again. It's like this like really nice date, and then she's like trying to fight like not having any feelings. So I was like, okay, that's exactly my song.
Yeah. Jamar, have you seen the movie?
Yeah, I've seen both.
So what I'm referring to is the rooftop scene where Mikey Ealy takes Taraji up to the rooftop, and it's like all romantic and such.
Mm-hmm.
So the background of the song is that one John Legend song, right? It was that Tonight song that he sings.
Oh yeah, that's the song.
What's the name of the song? I forgot the
Tonight?
name of it. Is it called Tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
So when he's playing it, like when I was listening to Brian's music, like it was that one and the other one that you had on YouTube. It was the one about the ex. I get these romantic vibes where you're on a rooftop and it's like you could replace his song with Late Night Love with John Legend's like all romantic, and I was like, oh, this is very soothing, and that was the first thing that popped up in my head. So you kind of already told us what the concept of your song is, but I also saw that you created the song a few years ago, I believe.
In 2017, yeah.
Okay, so what made you want to like put it on out onto Spotify and Apple Music?
Well, I mean, just in general, I've always wanted to put out my music on Spotify, and I always wanted to kind of figure out like, what would be a good one to be my first single, because I write a lot of really sad shit. Oh, I don't know. Can I cuss on this? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead. You can say whatever the fuck you want.
I love it. So yeah, I write a lot of really sad shit. It's a lot of me just like being really emo at 2 a.m. But it's like, okay, I can't hit them with the feels like on my first single. I need to give them like something that is like a bop, something that like they can really vibe to, but still has the element of me kind of being sad, but not completely like Adele, Sam Smith type of like sadness. Yet I have song. Well, you mentioned my other song, His Love, the one I wrote about my ex. That is like kind of like a few singles down, where they really start to get to know me a little bit more. But I just felt like, I mean, it's a song that I perform a lot at my shows, like for the past like 2 years, and a lot of people have just had a really good response to it. It's just a fun song to close my shows with, and I just thought it would be really fun for a single because it's like something they can bump in their car but still resonate with like me being a heartbroken person.
Yeah.
So you said you wrote this like around 2 a.m. Do you think that you're more creative at night?
Are you talking about my single or?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
The single I actually wrote at like 8 in the morning.
Oh.
Other song that I wrote about my ex, I wrote that at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I'll go back to sort of the others of my single, how I wrote that. But to answer your question, I do feel creative at that time, just because it's like, no one's going to come in my room to disturb me. And usually that's also just like the time generally when I'm like in my feels, like, when you can't sleep and if you're going through something, like you go about your day, you're distracted. But like when you go to bed, like there's nothing else to distract you from what you're feeling. So a lot of times, I will reach for my guitar or I'll start writing something. And that time, I generally try not to be up that late these days, just because I work a lot. But
Mm-hmm.
when I have written a bunch of songs like late at night, and also too, like I've just learned, like when you have like a song idea and it's like 9, 10 o'clock, and you try to write a little bit, and you're like, all right, I'll just like pick this up another day or tomorrow or something. Like usually it doesn't work out. Like I'll try to get back to
Mm-hmm.
it later, and it's just like the feeling's gone, you know.
Yeah, you lose your
So,
rhythm.
and I've been able to like finish writing a lot more songs when I just like try to push through it, and like because like you'll never be in that same headspace as you were in that moment, and like that's where you get a lot of like your inspiration, and like really are able to kind of like be present with how you're feeling so that you can really express that. So yeah, for the songs that I have written like super late at night, it's because of that. Like I just like I can't just not finish this. I know, because I've had it happen a lot of times where I'll be like, okay, I'll finish this later because I got to go to bed, and then those songs are still not done, you know. So yeah, it's kind of that, and a mixture of like, yes, it's nice to kind of just work late at night because it's just you have your time to yourself.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So what made you want to choose late night love though? You mentioned that you wrote a lot of singles, but to put late night love out for that one on top of the other ones that you are yet to release?
Yeah, so it was more of like a I just wanted to find something like kind of fun and less depressing than my usual stuff. Like,
Okay.
you can't just I didn't want to hit people with like just a really sad, depressing song as my first single. I wanted it to be something they could bump in their cars, and something that, you know, like my favorite mood and type of music that I listen to is like, it's like you can be in your feels, but you're like you can still dance to it in the club, like you're in your feels at the club kind of vibe.
Like what Drake does, like sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah, I just like that. It's like yeah, and because then like when you connect with the lyrics, you understand, oh, it's a sad situation, but then you have a beat that's like really fun and like you can dance to it. And so it's like it almost becomes like kind of anthemic too, because then it's like, you know, like, oh, it gives you that good feeling because it's something you could dance to. But if it's something you've been through, that's really like at its core like an emotional thing. Like it becomes a song that you can lift your spirits with, like despite it being about something sad. And so I definitely just wanted, you know, the first single, like if people are being introduced to me, I wanted to kind of show like a fun thing for like, it's kind of scratching the surface of like kind of like who I am as an artist in terms of like, you know, like just the type of songwriter that I am, and you know, at least, you know, as I continue to put up more singles out, I wanted to start get deeper into who I am, and so it's like a good introduction. But it still has an element of me, you know, going through something like within my love life, but it's not as 100% like sad music yet.
Yeah, I hear you. I understand with what you mean that you want people to feel the song but also have fun with it. It also reminds me of like what Bruno Mars, that Gorilla song that he has. Like it sounds like it could be like a very emotional song, but if you really hear the lyrics, it's about sex. Like it's like
I have never heard that song.
dude, it's like when you first play it, it's like, oh my God, this is about to be emotional, but it's like all about like having some hard ass sex. And it's like, whoa, this is this is not what I was anticipating. When you're feeling like, oh, I need to listen to sad songs, like that's probably not.
I know that he has a song named Gorilla. I don't think I've listened to it enough to have that context, but now I'm probably gonna listen to it later now.
Yeah. What's it called?
Gorilla.
Gorilla.
I think it's called Gorilla. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was off of the jukebox, something jukebox album that he put out.
Yeah, it was a while back. I noticed it from how he performed it before, and I was like, oh wow, this is a really good song. But then it was like, oh shit, this is a really good song.
That's what I like about songs like that though too. Like, and this is something that I've really been inspired by with Sam Smith, is that like he writes a lot of sad songs, but a lot of them, like the first one he really kind of blew up on was Latch with Disclosure. And like I watched a video about his songwriting process, and he says that he likes to start off it like he likes to write it as a ballad first before he turns it into like an electronic thing, because then there's like a really nice like balance of like you have the radio version where it's like a little bit more EDM or pop, but then when he just breaks it down and just does it with the piano, all of a sudden it's like this beautiful different version of it, and I love that kind of just way that you can like present the song in two different ways. And I like that I can kind of do that with my music too. Or I try to do that with my music, where it's like the studio version has a different feel, and then you play it like acoustic or broken down, and so you have a different context to it.
Mm-hmm. So the guitar that's on the Late Night Love song, is that you?
No, that was my friend.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I've seen you perform, obviously, right? We know that. And I remember a friend was saying that they wanted to hear how you sound like. And when they were about to play your video, you told them, no, I'm gonna go ahead and play it for you. I'm not gonna sit here and watch you watch my video. And then you started playing the guitar. And Derek, my boyfriend, he told me, he was like, he is talented, that he can sing. And he was like, you need to listen to him. I can't wait for you to listen to him. But what made you like really confident about singing in front of people?
Well, I mean, in terms of that situation, that's just like a thing that I just think it's so awkward when someone watches one of my videos, like when I'm right in front of them. It's like I'm just gonna be like, what to do? Like, what do I do with myself while they're watching me? Like, you know. So I was like, yo, right. I mean, I could sing to you if you want to hear what I sound like. It took a lot of time. I think now it's just, I mean, I just love singing. I love to do it, especially if like, you know, we're just jamming with friends and stuff like that. I think the confidence just comes from just doing it a lot. Like I've been on stage a lot. I'm used to by now like being really comfortable with singing in front of people. I mean that doesn't take away from the fact that I still definitely do get shy. You know, I still get flustered and put on the spot sometimes. But you know, it's just from doing it a lot, I guess, and just really loving it.
Mm-hmm. So you run your own karaoke mic night.
Open mic night, yep.
Open mic night, okay. And a lot of people, they're open, obviously. They're open to like bring themselves up in front of people. Where do you find yourselves in a situation where you find someone who's talented, and then do you try to convince them to get on your open mic night, or like, is that what it's for, or like how does the platform work?
So the reason why I love doing open mics is because that's really how I became comfortable with like performing. I guess that's a great segue from your previous question. Is like after you know, in high school I used to do all of the talent shows. I was that dude who sang like the national anthem at all the events and stuff like that. And so that was like my platform for performing. And then after high school, I was like, I didn't know what to do. Like, how do I get gigs, right? And then a friend of mine introduced me to like going to open mics. And after that, I was like an open mic rat. Like I would go to every open mic that I could think of that was happening. And I learned how to be more comfortable on stage and being comfortable with like being in front of people because of open mics. And so, you know, and like, it's just always just been this fun experience that I always kind of cherish. Cause like all those open mics I would go to, I would roll deep with all my homies, all my music friends. So it's always had like a special place in my heart. And so now it's still that, like the kind of open mic scene started to like die off in terms of like the ones that we used to go to. And so, you know, my friends and I would do our own, and then, you know, years would pass and then it would be less and less. And so I was like, well, now I'm the only one who's doing them. But I still love to kind of keep that. It's like my monthly like excuse to have my friends along. And like, but on top of that, like going back to your question, I think it's important, and it's really rewarding to be able to give that stage to like young artists. Cause like, especially in this age, like when I get performers who are like in their teens or in high school or even in college, and like we're in the age where like, you know, they just sit in their room and, you know, and record videos on Instagram, but they're super crazy talented, like they're amazing, and they're like 12 or like 14, and they don't know how good they are. Like they get really good engagement and stuff online, but they're not used to being on stage. And then, you know, and a lot of times too, when there are open mics, I mean, especially in my area, like the open mics that do exist other than mine, they kind of lean a lot older, and so it's not as welcoming a space for that age range like in high school. And so I've I've continued to do mine because I found that like I had that niche. Like I was the open mic to go to for that age range, where I always try to make it like really supportive, because like I know, again, to go back to your question, I know how important it is to like give someone that push and that like confidence to do it more and to be on stage. And like that's why I love to do open mics, because there's so many times where like I'll because I put out Facebook ads, I have people who tell their friends and they tell their friends to like sign up, and I'll meet a lot of really great artists, and like a lot of times they're young kids and they're so talented, and like sometimes they end up being regulars, and like I'll remember the first month they come and they're super shy, and then like a year later they've been coming every month, and all of a sudden they've transformed and they're super confident on stage, and it's because of like, you know, being able to put themselves out there more. And yeah, and I think that answers your question.
No, definitely. And sorry, I called it karaoke.
No, it's okay. No,
Night night.
it's
I
okay.
was like, wait a second. I think that's a Filipino thing for me to say.
Mhm.
So
I mean, you could kind of call it that. Sometimes people come and sing and they don't play an instrument and they just bring like an instrumental. So yeah.
yeah,
But, I mean, I understood what you meant though. You're good. You're good.
yeah. They do covers, right? So I guess that kind of
Yeah. A lot of
That's
new
how it
covers.
is.
Sometimes they're brave and they perform their originals as well. But yeah, we get a lot of variety. We have poets. We have stand-up comedians who come, but mostly singer-songwriters and musicians.
nice. Where do people sign up for it though? Because I've seen it a lot. Do they have to contact you for it, or?
Yeah, so I have a page on my website where they can sign up online.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, right now we're in quarantine. I guess we should note that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So usually my open mics are monthly, every last Saturday of the month, and I host them. I used to host them at like a different boba shop or cafe every month. I work with like local businesses to host my event there, but I've been hosting it consistently at this place in Fremont. And so I just locked down the dates with the owner, and then I put them online, and they could sign up online, and then that's how I kind of manage the list. And now there are live streams for now, but usually yeah, they sign up online, and if they're local, they come through.
Yeah, I mean, what can you do? I mean, as long as the platform is still available, we're able to work around the quarantine, right?
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
honestly, I mean that's what was crazy, is like I stopped it. I officially canceled the in-person events like a month ago already, because like it was like just in the beginning of like all of this stuff starting to happen.
Yeah,
And
in the
I was really
US.
heartbroken because like and well, for one thing, I knew for sure I was gonna need to do it, because like we fill up that boba spot like really quick, because like
Mm.
my main list is usually about 10 to 12 performers, and that's
Mhm.
already 12 people, and usually they'll bring one or two friends. That's easily 30 people plus the
Mhm.
regular Saturday night like rush. So it gets really packed in there. So I was like, okay, this is not gonna be okay for a long time. So I canceled them. But the thing that really like made me sad was like I didn't officially start calling them B-Dubs open mic. B-Dubs is my nickname for Quarantingz, Brian Dublin. And
Mhm.
I started that in 2017. And this month, March 29th, that was supposed to be the latest show. This month is the first time I didn't have one, like in 3 years. Like I had it every
Oh
month
wow.
since 2017. And so I was like really sad. And then my friend was like, "Oh, you should do like a live stream." I was like, "That's fucking genius. Let's make
Yeah.
it." And people really responded to it. Like it was like I was so excited, because like I was like, "Oh cool, I have like a way to continue doing these shows." And
Mhm.
I found that it's like really needed right now, because there's so many artists who had gigs lined up for for these next few months or weeks, and they all got canceled. You know, they lost revenue, they lost just the opportunity to perform. I had a rapper who came to one of my live stream open mics who said that he had like this whole set that he made that he never got to perform, and he was happy to be able to do it like even though it was like a virtual way. And so that's what's been like really cool about doing the live streams now. It's just because like it's good. I'm happy to keep these going, because like and it's also cool because I feel like I'm gonna continue doing these even after quarantine, because like it opens up literally like the world. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had a guy from Barcelona come in last week, a guy from Japan performed. Like it's crazy. Like it's something I don't get from my local open mic. So it's been really fun.
Yeah, there's like a
That's
silver
cool.
lining for situations like this, right? Like some people have been experiencing that, or like, oh man, my capabilities are now limited, but then you realize that you have opened other opportunities that you never knew that you could have explored.
Oh yeah, for
Mhm.
sure.
Right?
I would have never thought to do live streams like this, and then I was like, I did one, and I was like, oh snap! Like this could really be something cool that I do, aside from my monthly like in-person open mics. Because then, I've been trying to build up like the social media pages for my open mic, because like I just always trying to find ways to like how do I highlight these artists other than the stage that I'm offering to them. And I was like, if I can have build a following online and then post one of their performances and have that launch them, like I want to do that. And so like this is like a cool other way to like even broaden that up to like the world like of artists. Like if I could build a platform like that and use my open mic to continue to help these artists grow, like it's like exciting to be a part of it.
Yeah.
It's
I
dope.
hear you.
Yeah, that was a good thing to do. Start doing the live and everything, because everyone needs content right now.
Oh yeah.
Everyone needs to watch something. I mean,
Mhm.
because everyone's paranoid and everything about Corona.
Yeah, for sure. Me too,
Mhm.
man. Like, I mean, I guess on a very sad note, like, my friend's uncle passed away last week, from the virus, and so that was really like sobering. Like, I had already been taking it super seriously, and been really worried about my parents, but like, just to have it start to kind of get closer to like, that's like 2 degrees
yeah.
of separation, like I know my
Right.
friend has an uncle. It's like, and to know, that's in San Jose, like where I live, like it's definitely like it gets more real the more closer it gets to you, when it starts
Yeah.
to really affect people in your life. And so, yeah, it's crazy time. So it's good. That's why another reason why it's like I'm happy to like continue doing these shows, because it's like, I guess, for lack of a better term, it's a nice distraction from like having to worry about this stuff, and it's a good way
Mhm.
to kind of use this time to make something fun out of a crazy situation.
Yeah, it also changes people's perspectives, I believe. I've been hearing a lot of things where, like, to start light, people will never take the gym for granted anymore. People will never
Yeah.
take, will never take the restaurants for granted. Will never, and then there's people that I know that they say they'll never take their kids for granted, or like they'll make sure that they stop putting work first and
Mm.
Mhm.
spend more time, because as it gets closer to your personal situation, it's just like, oh my god, like people are not taking this seriously, and it hella annoys me when people don't take this shit seriously.
Yeah,
Like,
Mhm.
I feel like I mean, it's I'm not thankful for it, but like I I feel like I've benefited from the fact that I've heard people in my circle have, because it's allowed me to really take it a lot more seriously, because it's like, wow, this is not just something like that's like in the media. It's not something that's like, so to like laugh at, it's
Mhm.
actually affecting people. And I think a lot of times the people who aren't taking it seriously haven't had that yet. Not
mm,
saying that I want them to, but like, like it's important to understand and have that perspective, like that it's something that's affecting a lot of people, and to really take it seriously, because like we're all responsible to like bring down to flatten the curve, and make sure like we're limiting all of that stuff so that it doesn't spread. Because then that's another thing too, like I have friends not only who have been affected like with their like losing their jobs, or
Mhm.
friends, or having my great friend had already lose a family member to it, like like people are also like struggling, not just financially, but wow, I just totally lost my train of thought. um, I like
Everyone's struggling.
yeah, I guess that's basically
Yeah,
what
to
I was
sum it all up.
Oh, I remember now. Not just all of that stuff, but I have friends who work in who are medical professionals, and they're also like
Mhm.
scared. Like
yeah,
the whole situation of like people who the how they what is it? A lot of people panic bought masks, and
Yeah.
it's affecting the availability of like masks for the actual medical professionals who need it, like the N95 mask. And it's like,
hmm,
they're those things, they're supposed to like change it like every few hours,
yeah,
Yeah.
and like the nurses and the medical professionals, because of the shortages, they're having to like wear it every day. And like
Mhm.
that's they could literally have coronavirus all up on their masks, but they have
seriously.
nothing else, like And so, I've been always checking in with like my friends who are nurses, like, hey, I hope you're doing okay. Like, how are things there? Like, I have a friend who is a nurse in San Diego, and she said thankfully it's not crazy there, but it kind of feels like a calm before the storm kind of situation. So she's like worried and on edge too. And so, yeah, it's like really like the like taking this quarantine seriously and maintaining social distancing if you have to be out there is important, because you're doing it for like the people who you could possibly prevent from infecting, and then also supporting the medical workers who are like literally overwhelmed. Like it's insane. Like I heard that the hospital like 10 minutes away from me is like half COVID patients, which is
it's crazy.
Like, crazy.
Yeah, and I hear people like women, pregnant women, they are now trying to do home births.
Oh,
like
man.
there's no way.
Damn.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's crazy. My coworker, she's actually she's scheduled to give birth on Sunday.
Oh god damn.
She's not going to the hospital?
I think she's going to the hospital. But she was really bummed, because then I think they're still doing like, I mean, because it's not as crazy just yet where they're still able to do it. But I know that they're limiting the amount of people who could be in the room. And she was, and I remember she was bummed because like she wanted like her mom there and her sister there, but like she could only like have like one person aside from the medical staff. So I was like, that's really tough too. So
yeah, one of my friends, they just tweeted that they can't even see their son being born too. They can't even be in the room because of COVID. Like this is all fucked up. And you know what's the other thing too? Like America, they are definitely hiding the fact of how incompetent they are. Like with
definitely
with health and safety, right? Like we have all these other countries who are actually trying to help us.
Yeah,
definitely. And they hate to be like not as great as other countries. Like Americans don't, and it's crazy because like, or now the number one confirmed cases in the world. Sorry, not deaths, confirmed cases.
Right.
We have to be number one at something.
No, it's crazy, and that's one thing I was watching. I forget what his title is, but I just know he's like the leader of the task force for Trump for the coronavirus. He's Dr. Fauci, and he was talking about how like, it's crazy because of the size of our country. Like our states can be considered like their own countries. So it's like not just as a whole. Like we have to look at like California has its own situation, New York has its own situation. Like because like those states are bigger than some actual countries in like out in the world. So that's why. But then that's why when you look at us as a country as a whole, it's like a whole bunch of countries contributing to the fact that we're like, I think it just reached like over 1 million confirmed cases.
Yeah.
Today, so.
Insane. There's also this story that I saw for the Philippines that they are threatening to kill people if they don't if they don't listen to the authorities
and obey the lockdown rules.
Yeah,
right.
Like a whole purge situation.
It's insane. I have a friend who her husband is in the military, and so they kind of just they move like with him, and it just so happens that their most recent place that they moved to is Italy, and so they're in Italy right now.
Oh man.
Yeah, and so I like always watch her story and check in with her, and like she was posting about how like they have like loudspeakers up in the neighborhoods that are always like announcing like, oh, stay in your home, blah blah blah. And I remember it's crazy because like a month ago I saw that videos like that, but like in China. And so it's crazy.
Yeah, I've been checking on my cousin. I have a cousin in Italy. I have a cousin
really?
in the Philippines. Yeah, and she's been telling me before we were on like before shelter in place was obviously announced. She was telling me, you guys need to lock down because we went through the same thing. And I'm like, sure, let me go ahead and tell the government that. Like, but then they were doing the same thing that we were doing at the time. They were like allowing people to go out and go to whatever places that they want to go. And they were late on allowing shelter in place. And then 2 weeks later, they have so many cases. And so that's why she was.
I mean, I'm glad that like in California, we had our counties do that because you know, they took that initiative rather than waiting for the federal government to do anything about it. So, but still, it was like, like that's what's unfortunate too. I keep seeing like things like Trump like could have put things in place months ago, but he kept denying that it was like going to be a big deal for
Yeah,
us.
he was denying that it was even real.
Up and down. I've stopped trying to look at what he says because I just get like pissed off.
Like one thing
know.
I know he's the president and all, but
No.
seriously, does this motherfucker have to talk every day? Can we just put the doctors? But he's always like there every day talking.
He doesn't even know what he's talking about.
Exactly.
He
That's
doesn't.
why I'm glad that Dr. Fauci like is on
Yeah.
the team because I watched a lot. He's actually been doing a lot of interviews with people.
Yeah,
to help
definitely.
debunk things, and like he's really like he's doing a great job, and he's really informative and like and has been doing a good job of like telling people like the actual like deal, like what how it should be. And so it's good that like and I know that he like meets with the president every day, so I'm sure he's like
Yeah.
kind of tell him like dog like let's not it's like you chill, man.
Trump thought we could reopen everything in 2 weeks.
No, I guess
There's
yeah,
no
I was so
way.
mad he did that he was saying like, oh, it would be beautiful to open it up
By
on
Easter.
Easter. I was like
That shit ain't happening.
he literally said it'll be a beautiful special day. The churches will be full. I was like, as soon as he said the churches will be, I was like, you stupid? Like,
Yeah.
church full of people during a pandemic. Like, it's like so idealistic. It's like, yeah, it would be nice, but it would only be nice if it's safe to do so. Like, but it's like that's not the case.
He doesn't care about the people.
And then it's funny because literally the next week he announced that the lockdown of the country is gonna extend to like through May.
I think it's gonna be till the end of June.
Yeah, honestly, because my sister, she lives in like by Washington D.C. They extended them to June 10th.
Oh shit! Really?
Yes, they extended to June 10th.
Because they said that the worst is still coming in like 2 weeks. That's gonna be the peak of the curve.
Yes, that's what I saw. I saw that apparently we're supposed to hit our peak in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna extend till the end of June.
I'm so scared.
Yeah.
So scared.
And that's one thing I did in that same article or post that I saw where it was saying that we're gonna hit our peak in 2 weeks. It did say that like given that projection, like it looks like California actually should be able to handle the surge, which is like good news. I hope that's true, like because if we're doing and that's also one thing I also heard about because the shelter in place just got extended from April 7th to now May 3rd, and I think from what I read is that
is it May 3rd now?
It's May 3rd. Yeah,
I thought it was May 1st. Oh, did they change it again?
They changed it again.
Oh,
I
shit.
only know this because
yes.
I only know this because literally the day it got announced, I had to change stuff on the website for work, and then I like updated a whole bunch of things and to say May 1st, and my boss was like, they changed it again. It's May 3rd. I was like, oh man, I have to update the website again. But yeah, because like we had to like let I work for an online company, and so like we had to like let our customers know like we can't ship any products out until we're back. So, but yeah, like what I heard was that the reason for the extension was because since we implemented it, it's like we've had a rise in cases, but it's shown that it's like starting to work. So that's why they extended it and made it a little more strict, so that it can continue to like have a good impact on the situation.
Yeah.
And for everyone listening, when you heard me cheer that it got extended to May 3rd, I'm not cheering for the virus. I'm cheering because I had a court date on May 1st. So it's
Silver lining. It's again not to for like what you just said. Like I'm not happy the virus is happening, but I did get like a break for having to pay my student loans because of this, so that's kind of cool too.
Yeah,
I'm definitely not happy. All my events that I had like for work for the next 2-3 months have all been canceled. It's
affected all of my sources of income because I work for an online company. That's my day job. I worked in the office, and then I do gigs, I do music stuff, and then I'm also a lunch driver. I can't do that for sure. And then I also, do freelance graphic design and photography, and I can't do photo shoots. And then even my graphic design gig, I had a gig designing graphics for like a youth conference, and that got put on pause because it was supposed to be in May, and then because of all of this, like it can't happen anymore. So we're like, we have to pause this project. And I was like, okay. So yeah, so it's affecting a lot.
Is Uber and Lyft still going on right now? Are people still working, driving?
I see. I don't know about since the recent update, extension of the structure in place, but I do know I saw a lot of videos of Lyft drivers who are struggling, and because they're still trying to work because that's literally their only income. They're taking precautions. I saw like a news report about one of the Lyft driver who like she like constantly has to sanitize her car in between rides and stuff like that.
Oh man.
But I don't know now. I think it's got to be illegal, but I don't know because it's still like I guess because there's public transportation that's still available, like the bus and like BART and stuff. You just have to maintain 6 feet. So I don't know where that falls with. I mean, I haven't even looked as a driver like what it means, but yeah.
And some people can't even take off because money. My little brother, he told me he felt really sick. I think he said a light fever or something like that. And he was saying that he can't take any days off because he doesn't have enough PTO. And I'm like, in the event of the coronavirus, you really can't?
Do you think companies that have their employees working from home will realize that their employees can actually work from home? like I've had to do a bunch of like business meetings over Zoom lately, and I'm like, before we used to have to go in fucking person. Like, do you think that like companies will realize that a lot of employees can actually work from home?
Yeah, I think I think that's definitely going to be a benefit, like where it's like they're kind of forced into actually figuring out how it works, and then kind of seeing like, oh, actually we could continue doing this afterwards, like instead of having to get everyone to be able to be in person.
When do you guys think, when all this is like over with, when do you guys think like it'll all go back to normal? Like people will shake hands again and give each other daps and everything? I think it's going to take a while.
I'll take a while.
I can't say a timeline guess, but I think an important factor would be when there's a for sure vaccine.
For sure.
Because then people can still get it, but there's less of a fear because they know they can go get it treated, which will, I think, open up people being a lot more open to being more physical again. But yeah, I think that would be like, because right now the big fear, of course, is that like, like you can die, like you can cure, like, and if you're, and so I think when the situation gets to a point where it's manageable and you don't have, it's not a life-threatening thing anymore, where there's a way to cure it and way to treat it in an easy way, which I'm sure they're like, once that happens, they're gonna make that super widespread, easy to access, just like the flu shot. I think that's when people will be a lot more comfortable with returning to, because I mean I know for sure, like I've seen how things are in China, because they're just starting to get back to normal after their craziness, and like people are still kind of refusing to leave their homes and are still worried, it's gotten better for them, but it's gonna take some time.
You guys ever wonder what it was like back then when they had like pandemics?
Like in 1918?
Yes.
Yeah, it's great. That's what. No, when I think about legit though, like I think that was 1918 was influenza. Was that?
Yeah, Spanish flu.
1918. Like, yeah, I was just like, I think I watched a video about it somewhere, but yeah, I was imagining. I was like, man, like they didn't have any type of communication. Like, like how do you, now we can inform everyone about the current situation because we look at stuff online. It's like, how did they tell people, how did the government tell people like that there was these things going on? Like everyone, we're all like super informed in situation, like how to do thing and all that stuff, because we get the freaking the Amber Alert thing. And it gives me a heart attack every time. But like, that's actually one thing that's crazy that I've really thought was a cool thing, is like the solidarity, like that, like how much people are taking it seriously, like because I've been doing all the grocery runs like for my parents, because I'm like, y'all are grounded, you're staying home, like like don't go anywhere.
My turn.
Legit, like I'm gonna do everything, like I don't want you guys going anywhere, and like when I've gone out for grocery runs, like everyone's really respectful and like they really manage like the social distancing. Like, you know, I was doing laundry the other day and like I would go to wash my hands and like people would like legit like wait in line but like 6 feet away from each other, like
Yeah.
stay out of each other's ways, like without even saying anything. It's really cool. And then like I know that and I went to Walmart yesterday and like they actually have like started to place like actual stickers and
Yeah,
like
on the floor.
the floors that say
Mhm.
like, oh, like this is 6 feet, like stay in line this way, markers on the floor. And there's signs everywhere. And then when you come in, like they hand you like a Purell wipe to wipe down your car. It's cool to see how people are actually really taking it seriously in that sense, and that people are participating and really and doing all that.
Those wipes though, they've always been there.
Yeah, the cart
No,
wipes.
they specifically like will hand it to you before you go in.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, they had those before, but now finally everyone's using it, right? And now,
I think the Walmart that I go to, I remember there always being one being there, but now there's like two.
oh, it's like y'all go really wide, and everyone's gonna be giving each other finally personal space, because I cannot stand when people stand so close to me in line. Like I cannot.
I know, right? It's weird though. When I went to Safeway, they don't well, when in the line, they don't stand 6 feet apart.
Mm.
And I'm
Yeah,
just
they
like,
didn't do that when I went to
fuck
Frisco.
this.
I was like, oh shit, like
I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm standing back. But just imagine like the plague back then, like in like what, the 17th century?
Like, how do you like educate the community, the public at large, on how to do that, how to make sure that they stay home or are socially distant? Like how do you and maybe that's why it was so bad, you know? It's because they couldn't properly, like, you know, educate people.
Did they even know about like fucking germs and shit back then? Like in the 17th century? Because I know they used to wear that big ass like beak mask stuff, thinking that that'll stop everything.
And I imagine that people were probably as hard-headed as they are now. Like they're like, this thing is not that serious. And then people until like, and that's why, you remember like what you said, that's probably why it got as bad as it did. Because they didn't start taking it serious until it really connected with someone like very close to them.
Yeah.
You know?
It's really intense, dude. Like going to Walmart yesterday was like, because I went to Walmart like 2 weeks ago, like in the first beginning of quarantine. Like it changed so much. Like they had like carts upside down and then like caution tape so they could block off the things so that people can line up a certain way. And then they set up like these loudspeakers in the parking lot, and it has this like message like, oh, thank you for choosing Walmart, we're trying to keep you safe, remember to practice social distancing. Like it felt like crazy. I don't know, it's like when you see like wartime stuff, like shows like apocalypse type stuff, and like you see how like it's crazy to go out there. It's like it kind of looks like that, like when you go now, because everyone's like in line and having to like, you know, scramble for stuff. But I mean, it wasn't like super crazy scary or anything, but it's just crazy to see the state of things, like just going to the store.
There is some order finally. I mean, except for people fighting each other, like I saw.
Right.
I saw something the other day.
Was the most interesting one that I saw, because I went to Best Buy yesterday because I needed to buy something for my computer for work. I need like an Ethernet cable, and like they actually don't even let you in the store. Like they have like a station set up in the front, like where the sliding door is, and then it's like when you go to In-N-Out and they take your order and then you get in line.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like he'll be like, hey, how can we help you? And I was like, I need an Ethernet cable. And he like had a phone. He was like, oh, we have 2 in stock. All right, go ahead. Yeah, legit. And then I got in line and I finally got to the register, and she was like, oh, like, and then what did you order? And then that's how they ringed you up. I was like, that's cool. Like I was telling her, I was like, it's cool that you guys are doing this, because like I feel like as a worker I would feel most safe doing it this way.
Yeah. They're doing that with Bevmo.
Oh, really?
I need wine. So what they do is like they're only taking online orders, they're taking mobile orders, and then you have to call in. You're probably not going to get as much luck when you call in, but when you go there, you have to have an order. And then they're like, what's your order? What did you buy? You have to give them. And then they give you a bin, and then they like slide it to you. They're like, put your ID in there. And then you have to slide it back.
Wow.
So they ring you up like that. So they do that at Bevmo.
That's so interesting. And then I also, what I noticed when I went to Walmart that wasn't there before, they set up like these plastic guards, like right in front of the register, the cash register, so that like it has like a plastic guard guarding the person ringing you up.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
For each register?
For each register, like when I was walking down the aisle, like passing all the registers to go to the exit, I was like, wow, they all have one now.
Yeah, Walmart has that money to put that up.
No, I'm sure.
Definitely.
People.
It's good that they do that because again, like putting myself in the shoes of someone who has to work these jobs right now in this time, like I'd want my employer to make me feel like I'm safe, you know. So it's good that they did that to make them feel safe.
And that's why I don't appreciate Amazon right now.
Oh my gosh, yeah, my friend works at Amazon, and he was like, yeah, they don't care.
Yeah.
They're just sending everyone out to deliver packages.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Like I don't even want to buy anything off of Amazon because of how they're treating them during this time, right? They even fired the person who organized the protest.
Oh, there was a protest?
There was a walkout protest, and they fired the person.
Wow.
And because they fired them for putting other workers at risk. I was like, what? So you're gonna blame it on somebody? Okay.
Yeah. Amazon's shipping right now. I try to buy something. That shit ain't shipping until May.
Yeah.
So I'm like, God damn.
That's why I've been doing Amazon Prime now, because that's like it's more of like a like how DoorDash and stuff have drivers and stuff like that. There's like windows where you can actually get it, and it doesn't take like 2 weeks, but then it's a little different than what if you were to order from the website.
Yeah.
Right.
Prime Now is it's still working?
It's local, yeah. So the first week there was like for 2 days it was like there was like no delivery windows. But I'm starting to see that now that there's actually more like more delivery windows. Like you can't do like it's definitely not like the usual like where you can do it like the 2 hour like deliveries, but like it usually come in like the next windows are usually like in a day or two now, which is a lot better. And it's because like they're locally getting it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm currently signing into my Prime Now right now.
Before we close this up, is there anything else that you want to talk about, B-Dub?
I think we did a good job. We talked about open mic. We talked about the Rona. My cousin.
Oh man, I'm coughing.
Oh no, bruh.
No, it's not the time for you to cough.
All right, grab the Clorox wipe down your mic.
Yeah. God damn it.
I guess other than that, it's just whoever's listening, I think it's important just to run back the idea of like really taking this quarantine and stuff seriously. Like, it's if you haven't had it really affect your circle yet, I know it can be hard to have that perspective of like it's something that you really need to take seriously, but like you just have to really recognize like, okay, I need to stay home because I could be saving lives. Literally, like it's something really you can really be saving lives by doing that, and also encouraging others to do that. Like it's important to find ways to educate people like in a nice way. Like if you see people who aren't taking it seriously, like it's important not to like fight them on it.
Right.
Like it's important to come at it in a positive way. Be like, hey, like I understand it's where you're coming from, but this is why this is important, and this is why you should also take it seriously, because that's the best way you can get people to get on board with it if they're not already. And I think that's the biggest thing, because it's like I've seen the common argument for people who aren't taking it seriously. There's like, well, I'm fine, like my immune system's great, I'm gonna be okay. It's not about you, bro. Like it's about, yeah, you can get the coronavirus and survive, but there's that also that period where you're asymptomatic and you could have been spreading it to a whole bunch of people, and that could lead you could literally be directly the cause of someone older. Hey, a dog.
Yeah.
You guys can't see, but a dog came on screen and I got
yeah, it's my dog. My dog Oscar. He's just
he
chilling.
does this. He always comes up behind Kmart and just like stares at the camera.
He's just chilling right here.
He came by and gave you the puppy dog. I was like,
yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, sorry. It's just really important because you never know like how your reactions are affecting others, whether it's positive or negatively. Like, you know, you could be spreading it to someone who spreads it to their grandma, you know, who could be at risk, you know. And so it's important to really keep those things in mind, and how you could be really affecting both positively and negatively, and why it's important to, as a society and as just, you're responsible for all of us. We're all responsible for for all of us. And so we have to make sure we take that seriously, because then, you know, otherwise we're going to be in quarantine for a lot longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
Really.
get this shit done with.
I'm pretty sure that the government is planning on keeping us inside for another 5 months. They're just telling us 1 month at a time because they know we won't listen.
I was talking to my friend about that too. It's like, a lot of people feel that way, and it's like, but I think the reason why they work 1 month at a time is because the situation really isn't predictable.
True.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like they could say, oh, we're going to be home for 3 months, and then magically in 1 month it gets better, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that, you know, we can go back to work soon, because I know the longer we're on lockdown, the more people are getting laid off. Like, I have friends.
True.
Yep.
Who, like,
over 10 million people have been laid off,
which is
or filed for unemployment.
Yes, I'm still
crazy.
waiting for my unemployment to let me know that I'm approved.
Oh, you got approved? How long did it take?
I don't know if I did yet,
Oh.
but my friends who applied around the same time as me are starting to get their letters and stuff. So
Nice.
cross my fingers for that.
Just filed for mine yesterday.
Nice.
Nice. Well, thank you, Brian. I
Mhm.
totally agree with everything that you say. People need to take this seriously and definitely tell others nicely, because if you tell them in a mean way, they're not going to receive the information. It's not going to go through.
Right. They're gonna fight back. They're not gonna be open to actually being, you know, compliant and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you guys want to wrap this up now?
Yeah, totally down.
Brian, you wanna shout out your Instagram handles?
Sure. So again, my name is Brian Dublin. Instagram, Brian with an I, Dublin like the city. And so just find me on social media at Brian Dublin. It's Brian Dubs on Twitter if you want to see how much of a mess I am. You can read my tweet. And then on Facebook, you can just search my name also, Brian Dublin. And yeah.
Thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. This was fun. I always tell my friends, like, I want to do podcasts, because it's like, there's so many times where I have like conversation just like we had today, like with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this super deep conversation at 2 a.m. in our cars, and just like, bro, that would have been the dopest podcast episode ever. So it's fun. It's really cool to be invited to do one, like, for real. So really thank you guys for having me, and hopefully we can do this again, but after quarantine and in person.
I appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you for being on. Definitely have to see you in person too.
Yes.
All right. See everyone next time. Stay safe.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
All right.